Hello, everyone, and welcome to Edutainment Wednesday, where we will be taking our first field trip to the airport. I hope that everyone has got their permission slips signed, at least mentally, as that is how I make sure that I don't have responsibility for whatever the permission slip covers. For right now, I'm going to let people know that we're about to board off and head off to the airport for this Edutainment Wednesday, and that I'm streaming. So I'll be right back. This is your streamer speaking. Just like to thank everyone who is joining us today on our field trip through the airport. We know you have a lot of different streamers that you could be watching right now, and we'd like to thank you for joining us onto today's stream through our airport field trip. If just so you know, turbulence will be according to whether or not the stream is able to support the game. I've already checked if it can. It looks like it's able to. So if we do experience turbulence, the stream is not a flotation device, although it can keep you afloat. So thank you for the hearts, Pepper, and thank you for the hello. If you suddenly need to leave the stream, it's understandable. Exits are everywhere but where the monitor is, or the TV, or whatever you're watching the stream on. So before let's go ahead and start up the stream. Thank you very much for waiting. Let's it should be a good flight, and again, thank you for choosing us. Please keep your tray tables in position until the time is that we start the game. Thank you. Beep beep. Thank you, Pepper. I'm not gonna keep doing this, but just until at least we begin the game. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Buzzy the Knowledge Bug. Welcome to the airport. This is a very busy place. People coming and going, planes landing and taking off. Helicopters, seaplanes, jet airplanes, hangars. There's so much to explore at the airport, so let's get going.
These are the controls for the helicopter. Let's go back inside.
There's sure a lot of controls in the inside of this helicopter. All those controls help the pilot steer the helicopter. It's a good thing I don't need that many controls. They'd never fit on my little body. There's sure a lot of controls in the inside of this helicopter.
I'm doing pretty good, Pepper. How are you? So this is a joystick. This is a headset.
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 Joystick.
Joystick.
Flight 55 to airport.
It's a
Chain link fence.
We are ready to land now.
Flight 55, begin your descent on runway
Chain
7.
link fence.
Roger that, tower. Beginning descent on runway 7.
Flight 55, abort descent. I just realized we don't have a runway 7.
Tower,
Joystick.
aborting descent and will circle the airport.
Oof. Sorry to hear that, Pepper.
Joystick. The.
Huh.
Joystick. The. Joystick. Let's. The. Pilot. Control. The. Pitch. Or. Tilt. Of. The. Helicopter's. Rotor. Blades. By. Tilting. The. Blades. In. Different. Directions. The. Helicopter. Will. Go. Up. Go.
Well,
Go.
there should have been an and.
Down.
But...
Or.
Okay, there we go.
Hover. In. One. Place. The joystick is also called the collective pitch control. Headset. A headset is a device that is held against the ear by a headband.
Yeah, I slept pretty well.
It sends and receives telephone and radio messages. Workers in the tower use headsets to talk to the pilots as they fly in and out of the airport. Wearing the headset leaves the workers' hands free for other jobs. Chain link fence. A chain link fence is made of heavy steel wire. It is used to keep people and animals out of certain places since it is not solid. It's easy to see what's on the other side of the fence. A chain link fence is made of heavy steel wire. It is used to keep people and animals out of certain places. Since it is not solid, it's easy to see what's on the other side of the fence.
All right, there we go.
The altimeter is an instrument that tells the pilot how high the plane is flying in the air. The height a plane flies is called its altitude.
Thank you for the hearts. Yes, I had Eggo Waffles Pop Tarts.
The airspeed indicator is a dial that shows how fast the plane is flying through the air. Today's jetliners, or jet planes, can reach speeds of 580 miles per hour.
Probably more since this was made.
A hangar is a place where airplanes are parked to be cleaned or repaired. Hangars are like great big garages for airplanes. Helicopters fly with the help of blades or rotors that spin around. Helicopters are very good for doing many jobs, especially lifting and lowering things straight up and down. Helicopters can easily move heavy crates. They are also used to rescue people who are lost at sea, or stuck on a mountaintop, or in a flood.
Oh, Pepper, your favorite subject.
Clouds are tiny drops of water or ice that stay together in the sky. The drops are so small that they aren't heavy enough to fall from the clouds. When they grow bigger and heavier, the drops fall as rain or snow. When water freezes around falling snow, the snow turns into hail. The pilot seat is where the pilot sits to operate the controls and fly the plane.
Let's make sure that we don't miss anything.
Pilot seat.
Joystick we already got. Chain link fence we already got. Alright.
A crate is a heavy-duty box made of long, thin wooden slats. Crates come in many sizes and are often used to hold big items, like furniture.
Yeah, Pepper, you never know what you'll learn on a field trip. Thank you for the hearts.
A helipad is a flat landing surface made especially for helicopters. The helipad often has a big H on it, so the helicopter pilots can see it more easily from the sky. The rotor blades of a helicopter spin around or rotate to lift the helicopter into the air. Because the helicopter has rotor blades instead of wings, it can fly straight up into the air and can turn easily. Rotor blades allow helicopters to hover, which means they can stay in one place above the ground. There's a lot of activity going on at the terminal. This is where passengers find out when a flight is leaving or arriving, where they need to go to get on the right plane, and which way they should go to get their luggage. Passengers can also buy tickets, books, and magazines, and even meals inside the terminal. Windsocks look like big socks. At the airport, they are attached to poles, and they wave through the air when the wind blows. Pilots and air traffic controllers watch the windsocks to see how hard the wind is blowing and from which direction. This helps them decide which runways are safest for takeoff and landing. The Bell Jet Ranger 2 is a 5-passenger helicopter. Its fuselage measures about 31 feet. It doesn't have a wing-to-wing measurement because it doesn't have wings. But because of how far its long top rotor and small back rotor stick out, the Jet Ranger actually is over 38 feet long. Its rotor blades can move the helicopter through the air at speeds up to 134 miles an hour.
So that's what kind of helicopter this is.
The tail rotor is a set of small rotor blades on the tail of the helicopter. They help turn the helicopter while it is in flight. They also keep the helicopter from spinning around and out of control when the main rotor blades are turning. Cars are a handy way to get from one place to another. They come in lots of different shapes and colors. Some small cars can only carry 2 people. Big cars have room for several people. Cars can also carry luggage, groceries, or boxes in the trunk. Another word for car is automobile.
What is an automobile?
A bus takes people from place to place. It travels on roads, but it is bigger and longer than a car and has lots of seats inside. People pay money called a fare to ride the bus. Buses usually travel from one place to another at the same time along the same streets every day. This is called a bus route. When passengers are dropped off at the airport, it's handy to check in at curbside check-in. They can check their baggage so they don't have to carry it with them through the airport. They can also check in for their flight.
Convenience.
The Airbus Industries A310 is a commercial jet. It is over 153 feet long from nose to tail and measures 144 feet from wingtip to wingtip. Its engines can run the plane as fast as 556 miles per hour, although for long trips it usually goes no faster than 515 miles per hour. The A310's cabin is big enough for 210 to 265 passengers, depending on how many seats are put in.
Actually, let's go in the terminal before we go into the plane.
Curbside check-in. Parking garages are big buildings with room to park many cars. They are usually built at airports and other busy places, such as shopping centers or near office buildings.
Fun fact, I used to go ahead and have my grandfather drop me off. Well, he'd go over to the parking garage and rest and relax while I went into GameStop to pick up games quite often.
Streets are used by people when they drive their cars, bicycles, trucks, buses, and motorcycles from one part of a city to another. In some places, even horses and buggies can be seen on the street. Sometimes parades and races are held on city streets. A sidewalk is a path that has been built for people so they can safely walk alongside a street or road. Sidewalks are usually made of cement, but can also be made of bricks or stones. Well, well, curbside check-in. This is one place where passengers can check in their bags before their flights. The person who checks in the bags in the front of the airport is called a sky cap. After a tag is attached to a suitcase, it's sent on its way on the conveyor belt back to the baggage handling area. When the bags are checked in, the sky cap attaches a tag on each suitcase so that it gets sent to the right airplane. Well, well, curbside check-in. This is one place where passengers can check in their bags before their flights. A trunk is usually larger than a suitcase and has stiff, square sides. Like a suitcase or duffel bag, it's used to carry things while traveling. A duffel bag is a cloth suitcase shaped like a tube. Duffel bags come in all sizes, but most have a shoulder strap for easy carrying.
That's a lesson for Bethesda.
Suitcases are one type of luggage. A suitcase is used to hold clothes, shoes, books, toys, and other important things that people pack and take on trips. Unless very small, suitcases should be given to the person behind the ticket counter or at a curbside check-in instead of carried on the plane. A sky cap is a worker at the airport who helps passengers with their luggage. The sky cap carries the luggage, puts a baggage ticket on it with the passenger's flight number, and makes sure it gets to the right airplane. Behind every airline ticket counter is the customer service agent. This person can sell tickets, check in luggage, arrange for seating, and look up information on other flights.
I already read that one.
An awning is a little roof, usually made of cloth that can be rolled up or down. Sometimes there are awnings over the curbside baggage check area at the airport. The awning shades the sidewalk by blocking the hot sun. It also protects the passengers and airport workers from rain and snow. The hand truck is a useful device to move crates and parcels. The hand truck has a flat platform at the bottom with two wheels on one side of the platform. The hand truck also has a vertical support with a handle on it. When a sky cap or baggage handler wants to move an object, they slide the hand truck's flat platform underneath and lift the hand truck back. With the object now above the ground, the hand truck rolls around on its two wheels. People often take their dogs with them on trips, even to the airport. When dogs or other animals travel by airplane, they ride in a special container called a pet carrier. This container keeps them safe and comfortable during the flight.
At least hope. At least that's the hope, is that it will.
A curb is the edge of the sidewalk, where the sidewalk meets the street. The ticket counter is where passengers buy tickets to take a trip. Printed on the ticket is the name of the airline company, the flight number, the name of the city where the airplane will be landing, and the time the plane will leave the airport. Here, a customer service agent can help passengers choose where they want to sit on the plane and check their luggage. The pilot is the person who sits at the controls and flies the plane. It is the pilot's job to make sure the passengers and cargo arrive safely at the airport. Sometimes a pilot is helped by a second pilot called a co-pilot. The reader board keeps passengers updated on all the flights. It shows which flights are arriving or coming in, and if they're on time. It also shows which flights are departing or leaving the airport. The clock lets people know what time it is. The clock has a face, which is the front of the clock with numbers on it, and hands, which are the long bars that point at the numbers. The big hand on the clock is the longest one, and it tells the minutes. The little hand lets us know the hour. Lockers are used to store small items like jackets, purses, wallets, or briefcases. Lockers always have a special place for a lock on their doors. This way, the items inside can be locked up and kept safe until they're needed again.
Sure to lock that information
Ticket
away.
counter. Posters are paper signs that give people information. Some posters have pretty pictures on them and are printed with lots of colors. Other posters just have words on them and are very plain. Passengers and airplane crew members have to walk through a metal detector before they get on a plane. The metal detector is a machine that is used to find or detect metal weapons. When a person is carrying something metal, the machine makes a loud beep. Then the person has to step aside and empty his or her pockets. Sometimes house keys and coins are enough to make the machine beep. When all of the luggage is unloaded from the airplane, it is sent to the baggage claim area. This is where the people come after their plane ride to get their luggage. Reader board.
Already read that one?
An escalator is a stairway that moves, but only in one direction. When people want to go upstairs, they ride the up escalator. If they want to go downstairs, they have to ride the down escalator. Welcome to the lobby of the airport. This is one busy place. Passengers can buy tickets and check in for their flights at the ticket counter. There's an escalator to the parking garage and to the concourse where people board the planes. Check out those mobiles. They kind of look like birds. I'll bet people have wanted to fly since the first human saw the first flying bird. Long before airplanes were invented, people tried flying by putting on wings made of paper, wax, and feathers, or by building giant kites. It took people thousands of years to learn how to fly. But look at them now. Welcome to the lobby of the airport. This is one busy place. Passengers can buy tickets and check in for their flights at the ticket counter. There's an escalator to the parking garage and to the concourse where people board the planes. A lot goes on in the front of airports. People hurrying, cars driving. Sometimes it can be busier than a beehive. A lot of folks like to check in their luggage right here at the curb. People can usually only park in front of the airport long enough to load or unload their luggage. Looks like this guy can't decide whether he's coming or going.
Haha.
A lot goes on in the front of airports. People hurrying, cars driving. Sometimes it can be busier than a beehive.
Mhm. I already... Car trunk, there we go.
The trunk is a roomy place in a car, usually in the back, for holding things. An extra tire, called a spare, is usually found in the trunk in case the car gets a flat tire. Luggage, boxes, shopping bags, and groceries are often carried in the trunk of a car. There's a lot happening down there. Let's fly down and check it out. A long time ago, some people thought flying was just for the birds and bugs like me. Ha! What did they know? There's a lot happening down there. Let's fly down and check it out. It's the helipad. This is where helicopters land at the airport. Helicopters don't need long runways like airplanes because they can take off straight up into the air, like me.
Go ahead and have this.
Helicopters can fly straight up, straight down, forwards, backwards, and even stay still in the air, which is called hovering. I can hover too. Helicopters have nicknames like Whirlybird, Chopper, and Egg Beater. I'd hate to be an egg and meet up with those spinning rotors. What a mess! Helicopters can land almost anywhere, even on buildings with flat roofs. It's the helipad. This is where helicopters land at the airport. Helicopters don't need long runways like airplanes because they can take off straight up into the air, like me.
All right. Let's go into here. Over here.
Car. The toll gate is where drivers stop to pay their toll. When the toll has been paid, the gate lifts up so the driver can go through.
Good.
Everybody who parks in the parking lot at the airport has to pay a fee when they leave. And here's where they do it, at the toll booth. A building like this one that has more than one level of parking is called a parking garage. I wonder what that pigeon's doing here. I bet he's waiting for a ride. Everybody who parks in the parking lot at the airport has to pay a fee when they leave. And here's where they do it, at the toll booth. Pigeons are birds that are often found in parks and in parking lots. Pigeons make a cooing sound, have short legs, round little bodies, and they wobble when they walk. Pigeons prefer building their nests in protected areas, like under bridges, roofs, or inside buildings. Toll booth. The toll booth is where the controls for the toll gate are. When people drive their cars into the parking garage, they are not charged any money. But at the exit of the garage is the toll gate and the toll booth. The parking attendant takes the toll payment for the time the car was parked inside. Then the parking attendant raises the toll gate and the car can exit the parking garage. The parking attendant helps customers as they leave the airport. The attendant operates the toll gate and collects money that must be paid for parking at the parking garage. They also give people directions to help them get around town. The cash register is used to add up how much a customer buys. The cost of each item is entered into the cash register, and then a total comes up. This tells customers how much they must pay for the items they buy.
That everything?
I'll be with you in a moment here.
I'm looking for burgers. Can you tell me where there's a good restaurant nearby?
Sure. First you take a left and go about 2 miles, then you take a left and go about 2 miles, and then you take a left and go about 2 miles.
Why, thank you.
Oh no. Come back, little birdie.
Fire extinguishers are used to put out fires. They are portable, which means they can be moved easily from one place to another. Most fire extinguishers have special chemicals inside, which help put out or extinguish fires. Here's the parking garage. There's always people coming and going. People picking up their friends and relatives, and passengers who need to leave their cars here while they're away on trips. Good thing there's plenty of parking near the terminal. That way, people don't have to carry their luggage very far. With so many cars in here, it's easy to forget where you park. Parking garages at airports hold a lot of cars, up to 10,000 of them in some big city airports. Good thing there's plenty of parking near the terminal. That way, people don't have to carry their luggage very far. With so many cars in here, it's easy to forget where you park. Parking garages at airports hold a lot of cars, up to 10,000 of them in some big city airports. A security camera is a special video camera that is used in an area that needs to be kept safe, like a parking garage. When there are many security cameras in different parts of the parking garage, a guard can look at the pictures from all of the cameras at once and be on the lookout for people who might need help.
And to make sure that things don't get stolen. Welcome back, Pepper. We're in the parking garage right now.
A parcel is something that is wrapped and taken from one place to another. A parcel is also called a package. A pre-board screener or security guard makes sure everyone goes through the metal detector and puts their carry-on luggage through the X-ray machine on the way to the gate. They make sure that no one brings anything dangerous with them to the gate or on board the airplane.
Which is a good idea to make sure that they don't do.
Passengers and airplane crew members have to walk through a metal detector before they get on a plane. The metal detector is a machine that is used to find or detect metal weapons. When a person is carrying something metal, the machine makes a loud beep. Then the person has to step aside and empty his or her pockets. Sometimes house keys and coins are enough to make the machine beep. Passengers who carry luggage on board with them have to have it X-rayed first. Airports use X-ray machines to see what's inside each bag. The bags are checked to make sure no one brings a weapon or a bomb on board.
Good idea to make sure.
Before anyone goes to the gate area where the airplanes are, they have to go through the security check. That's where the security officers, who are sometimes called pre-board screeners, make sure that no one is bringing anything dangerous on board.
Flight 412 from Butte, Montana to Flushing, New York has been detoured to the Bahamas due to bad weather. We apologize for the delay.
Sometimes regular stuff like keys or coins will make the metal detector beep. If that happens, the person just empties out his pockets and walks through again. Of course, he gets it all back.
Flight 47 to Zaire will be delayed. Boarding will commence.
Every purse, bag, or piece of luggage that someone carries back to the gate has to go on a short trip on a conveyor belt so it can be X-rayed. After it's X-rayed, the passenger picks it up on the other side of the conveyor belt.
Would the owner of a small purple car please come to the red cap counter?
Before going to the gate area, everyone has to walk through a metal detector, like that one over there. If someone's carrying something metal, the machine will beep, and the security guard will check it out. It's very important to keep dangerous stuff out of airports.
There is a green convertible in the parking garage with its lights on.
Before anyone goes to the gate area where the airplanes are, they have to go through the security check. That's where the security officers, who are sometimes called pre-board screeners, make sure that no one is bringing anything dangerous on board.
Captain Alvarez, please.
All right, everyone.
The airline desk.
Make sure to put your stuff onto the X-ray machine. I'm going to try to go through. We're going to go and try to go through here. Time to make sure that everyone put their stuff in.
Conveyor belts are used for moving things over a short distance. Since the ends of the belt are connected, it loops around and doesn't stop unless the power is shut off. At the airport, conveyor belts are used to move the luggage from the ground up to the plane. When the luggage is loaded, the conveyor can be moved out of the way, so the plane can take off safely. A conveyor belt also carries baggage through the X-ray machine and into the baggage claim area.
Hammer equipment, all right. Top secret recorder, all right. Patriotic instrument, all right. Not sure what that was. But I didn't hear the red light go off, so. Clown shoes. Chicken and egg. All right. Medical supplies. Okay. Fish in a bowl. Okay.
Yummy.
Apples, bananas. I see saws. Okay. Eating equipment. Okay. Oh, a hat. Okay. Beauty supplies. Okay. Foods. This would probably be more detected than that, but alright. Clown shoes.
This is the X-ray machine. As every piece of luggage passes through the X-ray machine, a picture of what's inside shows up on the TV screen. X-ray machines in airports work just like X-ray machines in hospitals. They both look inside something. At airports, they look inside luggage and see things like cameras. And at hospitals, they look inside bodies and see things like bones. I wonder if they have cable. Hey, the view screen looks like a TV. I want to watch cartoons. This is the X-ray machine. As every piece of luggage passes through the X-ray machine, a picture of what's inside shows up on the TV screen.
Thank you for the hearts, Pepper.
The view screen, or monitor, lets the security person check baggage as it travels through the X-ray machine. He or she can see what's in each bag by watching the screen.
All right, everyone. Let's move on.
Here we are in the concourse. The concourse is where the gates are located. Each and every flight leaves from and arrives at an area called a gate. And that's where you see all those people waiting. Usually in an airport concourse, you can also find magazine stands, gift shops, restrooms, and restaurants.
Miss Wood, Miss Hollywood, please meet your multimedia group at the carousel.
Here we are in the concourse. The concourse is where the gates are located. Each and every flight leaves from and arrives at an area called a gate. And that's where you see all those people waiting.
Flight 39 from Newport Beach is now arriving at Gate H.
We already read that one. Yep. Already got the poster. Newsstand.
The newsstand is where newspapers and magazines are sold. Some newsstands also sell books and candy. The gate is the place in the terminal where passengers board or get on the plane. It is also where passengers on an arriving flight disembark or get off the plane. The ticket desk is a counter at the gate where passengers with only carry-on baggage can check in before their plane trip. Check-in lets the flight attendants know who will be on the plane, how much food is needed, and how much fuel the plane needs. Once the passengers have checked in, they wait in the lounge until it's time for their flight to leave. Border ropes are used to keep people out of certain places. The rope is a thick cord that is attached to two poles. It is portable, which means it can be moved easily from one place to another. Carry-on baggage is any luggage or package that passengers carry with them onto the airplane. Sometimes passengers like to keep their baggage with them. If the baggage is small enough, they can carry it onto the plane. A chair is a type of seat with a back to lean against. Some chairs also have armrests on each side.
Already read parcel.
Reader board.
Already went that one. Pilot we already got.
Customer service.
Already got. There we go.
The jetway is a covered ramp that goes from the gate to the airplane's hatch or door. When there's no jetway, passengers use stairs to board the plane. Ticket desk. Fuselage. Wing. Fuselage.
All right.
You gotta help me. I've locked myself out of the plane again. I've looked here and there and I just can't find the keys.
Oh dear.
Arrivals.
No, wait.
Here we are at the gate. This is where departing passengers wait before they get on the airplane. And it's also where the arriving passengers come when their plane lands.
Captain Alvarez, Captain Alvarez.
Over there is the jetway. That's where the passengers will go to get onto the plane. As the passengers board, a customer service agent stands at the doorway and checks everyone's ticket to make sure they're getting on the right flight.
Passengers from Flight 212 should
So,
continue
wanna
on to
see my
baggage
Egyptian
claim.
Reader
again?
boards like that are all over the airport. They are computer screens that list all of the times that flights are arriving or leaving. They help passengers to be on time. Here we are at the gate. This is where departing passengers wait before they get on the airplane. And it's also where the arriving passengers come when their plane lands.
Flight 39 from Newport Beach is now arriving at Gate H.
A magazine is a printed collection of pictures and stories on certain subjects that people are interested in. There are special magazines about sports, video games, nature, even flying. Some magazines are just for kids. Many airlines print their own magazines and put them in the seat pocket for passengers to read. These magazines usually have maps that show which cities the airline flies to. The clerk operates the cash register and runs the newsstand. People looking for a certain magazine or book can also ask the clerk for help.
I'm not sure, but I think that might be the first picture that looks the same or similar to the actual person.
A newspaper is a printed collection of stories about the latest events. Most newspapers are daily, which means they come out once a day. People read newspapers to keep up to date about what is happening in their town and around the world. Some airlines give newspapers to their passengers. The papers can be folded and tucked into the seat pocket when they are not being read.
And cameo by Fatty Bear. Also, local storm game over, I think it says. I'm not sure.
Books are very popular to take along on airplane trips. That's because people have plenty of time to sit and read on their flight. Scary, funny, and even exciting stories can be found in books. Books are wonderful adventures to faraway places, and they can help people learn lots of fun new things. The postcard rack holds many different postcards. Many postcards have a picture on one side and a place to write messages on the other. Postcards are often mailed to friends, but people also get them so they can remember the places they've been to. The postcard rack allows customers to see all the postcards easily. Postcard rack.
Poster, magazine, newspaper, book.
Hey, it's the newsstand. You can buy all kinds of stuff here. Magazines, newspapers, books, postcards, souvenirs, even gum and candy. The clerk behind the counter uses the cash register to keep the money that people have used to buy things in the store. The cash register also keeps track of how much money the store has made each day. A lot of people like to bring something along to read on the airplane. I wish I could read and fly at the same time, but I might hit a windshield. Ouch! A lot of people like to bring something along to read on the airplane. I wish I could read and fly at the same time, but I might hit a windshield.
Ouch! Alright. Let's look on the plane. Actually, let's have
Hey, here we are at the entrance to the plane. Ready to board. I wonder where it's going. I hope someplace where they have a lot of bugs. Now that's my idea of a good vacation. Sometimes you'll see a wheelchair waiting at the entrance to a plane. At airports, they're often used for people who have a hard time walking long distances and need a little extra help. Hey, here we are at the entrance to the plane. Ready to board. I wonder where it's going. I hope someplace where they have a lot of bugs. Now that's my idea of a good vacation.
well, recently it's been well, let me go back into the there we go. Recently it's been more that I would go ahead and use my cell phone because I have emulators and stuff on my phone, so I can play video games on it. Or I've got my Kindle I used to have a Nook, now I have a Kindle, where I could read comics that I have downloaded onto it.
There is a green convertible in the parking garage with its lights on.
Those two have helped me when...
You gotta help me. I've locked myself out of the plane again. I've looked here and there, and I just can't find the keys.
Oh dear.
Those two things have helped me on most of my flights, so from getting bored.
Hey, here we are at the entrance to the plane. Ready to board. I wonder where it's going. I hope someplace where they have a lot of bugs. Now that's my idea of a good vacation. Hey, I can see the cockpit from here. That's where the pilot and the co-pilot sit. It's definitely where the action is. Check out that door. It's got an escape chute, in case anyone needs it. Doesn't happen very often at all, but it's sure nice to know it's there. Sometimes you'll see a wheelchair waiting at the entrance to a plane. At airports, they're often used for people who have a hard time walking long distances and need a little extra help. Check out that door. It's got an escape chute, in case anyone needs it. Doesn't happen very often at all, but it's sure nice to know it's there. The cockpit is the place in the airplane where the pilot and co-pilot sit to fly the plane. In the cockpit is the flight deck, a panel of dials, switches, and controls that are used to fly the plane. The door latch is used to open the door and to close and lock it. A wheelchair is a seat that is attached to 2 large wheels and 1 or 2 small wheels. When a person's legs don't work very well, it can be hard or even impossible to walk. Wheelchairs help people who have trouble walking get wherever they want to go.
So I can go ahead and tell you now. Last night I actually had a dream, and I've had this dream multiple times. I feel like I've got locations based on real locations in my brain while I'm dreaming. One of them is I've now got a terminal in my in my brain. And a plane to go along with it. It's weird how the plane in my dreams works. But usually, oddly enough, I'm always wanting to travel to Tokyo and or Florida for Walt Disney World. So take off and land in no time at all. But yeah, I do like traveling. I prefer cruise ships, but at the same time I know that planes can get you to places faster. And
Large.
you're not paying a large amount of money. So you're usually paying more for cruise ships, is what I'm saying.
Escape chute. The escape chute is used to get passengers out of the plane quickly and safely in case of an emergency. The chute inflates or fills up with air, and the passengers slide down the chute to the ground below. The plane door is the normal entrance and exit door for passengers. Before the plane takes off, the door is closed and the latch moved to lock the door. When the plane lands, the plane moves up to the jetway, which will completely surround the door. Once again, the flight attendant uses the door latch to unlock the door. The door is opened and passengers can get out of their seats and exit the plane. People hold on to handrails when they walk on ramps and stairways, so they do not trip or fall.
So, there we go. Okay, I've got a story here now that I'm here. So, first time I've boarded a plane, I was pretty young. It was from California to Tennessee flight. And so I went over to the cockpit as a I guess it was a don't be afraid of flying, you're a kid, so we don't want you to be too afraid, but at the same time you're old enough to be able to talk with people. So I went to the cockpit and I got to meet the pilot and the co-pilot, and I also received a coloring book with something that I thought was just amazing. I received a pen, a coloring pen for the coloring book about planes, and it had it was like a marker that had different colors throughout the tube. Let me see if I can find a picture. It was kind of like this. This is an actual product. I'm not sure how legality works, but I'm off from. Hey, this is something I remember when I was younger. It was kind of like this. So I got something like this with some, and this is actually a highlighter, but I'm thinking that mine was actually a. It might have been a highlighter, but I thought it was a. Crayon, but I got to use it all through the flight with my plane safety coloring book that I got while I was on the flight. Now that I've told you guys the story, let me go ahead and talk with this bug guy.
Wow! I fly for a living, and I wouldn't know where to begin with all these buttons and switches. That's why they put a pilot and co-pilot in charge, rather than a bug like me. Every cockpit has a radio, but it's not the kind that plays music. This one is a two-way radio that lets pilots talk to the air traffic controllers on the ground. When the plane is on the ground, the pilot controls the plane with a steering wheel, just like a car. But once the plane takes off, he switches over to using that control yoke. Wow! I fly for a living, and I wouldn't know where to begin with all these buttons and switches. That's why they put a pilot and co-pilot in charge, rather than a bug like me.
Yeah, so I don't know what he's going to say every time, so he might repeat himself. And then I know it's time to go ahead and switch off.
The throttle is like a gas pedal in a car. It controls the speed of the plane's engines. There are usually several levers, each one controlling a different engine. Each lever can be moved by hand, so the pilot can speed up or slow down each engine during takeoff, in flight, or when landing. The air nozzles on a plane aim or direct air toward the passengers. They work like little fans or air conditioners. Each person can turn the air nozzle above his or her seat, letting just the right amount of cool air blow out.
I usually turn those off for me.
Like the windshield on a car or truck, the windshield on an airplane keeps wind, rain, and snow out of the cockpit. The pilot uses the radio to talk to the air traffic controllers and other pilots flying nearby. The radio can also help the pilot navigate or stay on course by tracking radio signals from the ground. This radio is called the NAVCOM, which stands for Navigation and Communication. The attitude director is an instrument that lets the pilot know if the plane is flying level with the ground. It shows that the plane is tilting to the left or right. It also shows that the plane is pitching or pointing up toward the sky or down toward the ground.
Thank you for the hearts, Pepper.
A compass is an instrument used to show direction. On the face of the compass are printed 4 directions: north, south, east, and west. A pointer, called a needle, floats in a liquid inside the compass. The needle is magnetic, and it always points north. When you turn the compass so the needle lines up with north on the face, you can then see where south, east, and west are. The pilot uses the control yoke to fly the plane. The control yoke is used to adjust the ailerons, tilting the plane to the right or left, and the elevators, which move the plane up or down. Attitude director. Airports send out radio waves to guide pilots to the airport. One of the uses for the horizontal situation indicator is to display if the plane is on course or not. Another purpose is to help with the compass. As the plane travels through the air, the compass needle will sometimes make a slight mistake. The horizontal situation indicator helps the pilot realize the mistake and keep the plane flying in the right direction. horizontal situation indicator. The autopilot is an instrument that can be set by the pilot to automatically keep the plane flying in the right direction. This allows pilots to take a break from the controls and get up and stretch their legs during a long flight. We're on the airplane. This is where the passengers sit. Each passenger has their own seat, their own tray table, and an area above their seat to store their carry-on baggage. Up there is the passenger control unit. Passengers can switch on and off a reading light or push a button to call the flight attendant. All right, we're on the airplane. This is where the passengers sit. Each passenger has their own seat, their own tray table, and an area above their seat to store their carry-on baggage. An overhead compartment in an airplane is used to hold small items like jackets, purses, and small suitcases. People must put these things in the overhead compartment to keep the aisles clear and to keep their things out of the way of other people. Tray tables on airplanes are attached to the back of the seats. A passenger can lower the tray and use it as a table. When the passenger is done with the tray, it can be raised back up out of the way. The seat pocket is a storage place for each passenger. Inside the seat pocket is a safety guide which shows what to do in an emergency. There may also be a magazine that the airline prints especially for its passengers. A seat is something that a person sits on. A chair is a type of seat. Benches and sofas are also kinds of seats. On an airplane, each passenger is assigned his or her own seat for the trip. A passenger control unit is above each set of seats on an airplane. It has controls for turning on reading lights, adjusting the air from the air nozzle, and calling a flight attendant. The cabin light is just like a hallway light at home. It lights up the area below it. The cabin window lets passengers see outside the plane while they are flying. This way, they can see what it looks like flying high above the clouds.
Hey, is there something on the wing of the plane? Reading light. There we go.
Reading lights give people plenty of light, so they can read books, magazines, and newspapers. On the airplane, each seat has its own reading light up above. Passengers can turn the light on if they want to read, and turn it off if they don't need it.
And for anyone who doesn't know, that was a reference to Twilight Zone. He's saying, is there something on the wing?
A closet is a small room where things can be stored until they are needed. The closet in an airplane is used to hang passengers' coats and store some of their carry-on luggage. A service trolley is a little cart on wheels that holds food and drinks. On an airplane, the flight attendant rolls the service trolley down the aisle and brings food and beverages to passengers. cabin life. Microwave ovens cook food very fast. And because they are small, they are handy on an airplane. Microwave ovens are used to reheat food, thaw frozen food, boil water, and cook meals in a hurry. Meal trays hold meals for the airplane passengers during long trips. Flight attendants offer meals to all the passengers during the flight, taking them from the service trolley. Preparing the meals on meal trays makes it easier to serve each passenger and to clean up after the meal.
Is that a squid?
Taking.
Guess somebody ordered the calamari if that's a squid.
Here is the galley of the airplane. Galley is another word for kitchen. Flight attendants make coffee back here for the passengers. And on longer flights, they put the passengers' meals together back here. It's an awfully tiny place to have so much happening. Fortunately for the flight attendants, the meals are already cooked when they're loaded onto the airplane. All they have to do is warm them up in the microwave, pop them into one of those service carts, and pass them out to hungry passengers. Even if you don't get a meal, on most flights, the passengers are at least served drinks and a snack, like peanuts or pretzels. Here is the galley of the airplane. Galley is another word for kitchen. Flight attendants make coffee back here for the passengers. And on longer flights, they put the passengers' meals together back here. It's an awfully tiny place to have so much happening.
From what I've gathered and found out, some of the best peanuts are from the
Peanuts.
well,
Peanuts.
from the airlines.
Peanuts are not really nuts, but are part of the legume family, which includes beans and peas. Peanuts are a favorite snack served on airplanes. Beverage is another word for drink. On an airplane, flight attendants often serve beverages to the passengers. Many people choose juice, soda, milk, tea, or coffee as their beverage during the flight.
Green tea.
Coffee.
Green tea.
Coffee.
Green tea. Oh, it's not doing it again. Okay.
Coffee is a drink made from coffee beans, the seeds of coffee plants. Coffee is a dark brown color, like the beans. Many grown-ups drink coffee. It is usually served hot, but can also be served iced or cold.
Are all the weird combinations that are at a Starbucks or Starbucks equivalent?
A cupboard is a place to store things. Cupboards have shelves and doors so that the things don't fall out when the plane moves.
I agree, Pepper. They should serve bubble on or bubble lemon.
A refrigerator keeps food and drinks cold. Keeping food in a refrigerator helps it stay fresh longer. Refrigerators come in many different sizes. Some refrigerators, like the ones in airplanes, are very small and can sit on top of or under a counter. Other refrigerators are as big as a room.
Those are meat lockers usually.
Microwave oven.
All right. Let's go to the back.
It's the runway, where the planes take off and land. It looks pretty busy today. Only one jet at a time can take off on the runway. If there's more than one, they line up and take turns. Big airplanes need long runways because they have to build up speed to take off and room to slow down when they land.
And if you're curious what Bubble Lemon is, let me go ahead and show a fan art made recently, or last year. Made during in 2021. I should be a little bit more specific because this is going to be a VOD. Thank you for the hearts, Pepper. Bubble Lemon is the soda that Pepper made fan art of. Asking me what flavor and everything I would enjoy. Bubblegum flavor. And it's called Bubble Lemon.
After all the passengers are on the plane and the door is closed, the plane taxis or drives over to the runway, where it takes off, heading up, up, and away. Only one jet at a time can take off on the runway. If there's more than one, they line up and take turns. Big airplanes need long runways because they have to build up speed to take off and room to slow down when they land. It's the runway, where the planes take off and land. It looks pretty busy today. The fire truck is always ready in case there's an emergency at the airport. On board the truck is plenty of water and foam for putting out different kinds of fires. The truck also carries ladders, axes, and other special equipment. The firefighters at the airport work hard to put out fires and help people who are injured. Baggage trailers are stacked with luggage to load onto the plane. When the plane lands at the next airport, the luggage will be unloaded from the plane back onto the baggage trailers. Then, the luggage is taken to the baggage claim area and returned to its owners. Airbus A3 Boeing. The Boeing 747 is a commercial jet. It measures over 231 feet long from nose to tail and is about 195 feet from wingtip to wingtip. It can reach a traveling speed of up to 607 miles per hour. The 747's cabin is big enough for a whopping 496 passengers, depending on how many seats are put in.
Wagga wagga wagga, wagga wagga wagga, wagga wagga wagga, wagga wagga wagga. And one more for Pepper. Wagga wagga wagga. Thank you for the hearts.
The Concorde is a commercial jet, often used for flights across the Atlantic Ocean. From nose to tail, it is over 203 feet long, and from wingtip to wingtip, it measures 83 feet. Its powerful engines can run the plane faster than the speed of sound. In fact, it can go up to 1,354 miles per hour, more than twice the speed of sound. One reason it can do this is the special drop nose that the Concorde has. The cabin holds from 128 to 144 passengers, depending on how the seats are arranged.
All right.
Pilots taxi or drive their airplanes slowly along the taxiway in order to reach the runway. From the runway, airplanes take off and land. Narrow taxiways are sometimes called taxi strips. A runway is a long strip of land used by airplanes when they land and take off at the airport. Runways are flat and smooth, so the planes can take off and land safely. Most runways have lights on either side so that planes can take off and land at night. Another word for runway is airstrip. Fuel trucks are like portable gas stations for airplanes. When an airplane lands, the fuel truck drives to the plane and fills up the fuel tanks. This gives the plane plenty of fuel for its next flight. Fuel trucks...
Nope.
The Piper Chieftain commuter plane uses two propeller engines rather than jet engines. It measures over 34 feet from nose to tail and over 40 feet from wingtip to wingtip. Up to 10 passengers can fly through the air at speeds up to 240 miles an hour on the Chieftain. Airbus A310.
There we go.
The galley service truck delivers food and drinks to the plane for each flight. It also removes the dirty dishes and empty food containers from the flight before. Here we are in the boarding area of the Concorde jet. Too bad we don't have tickets. I'm ready for a vacation. Those magazines and newspapers are for passengers to borrow during the flight. When they're done reading, they can return them to the magazine rack for the next passenger. People fly the Concorde when they're in a hurry because it flies so fast. That telephone is called an interphone. Flight attendants use it to talk to one another, to make announcements over the intercom to the passengers, and to talk to the pilots up in the cockpit. Here we are in the boarding area of the Concorde jet. Too bad we don't have tickets. I'm ready for a vacation. The interphone is used by flight attendants during the flight. They can make announcements to the passengers, talk to a flight attendant at the other end of the plane, or talk to the pilot.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Flight 715 to London. We hope you'll be having a pleasant flight with us today. We will be taking off soon, and I'd like to bring to your attention a few safety features of the Concorde. The Concorde has exits at the main entrance and in the rear and over the wings. To operate the doors, merely move the door latch and pull on the door. Before we take off, please make sure your seat belts are securely fastened about your waist. To adjust the seat belt, lift up on the flap and pull the belt or buckle. Once the pilot has turned off the seat belt sign, you may release the seat belt by pulling up on the flap. We request, however, that when in your seat, you keep the seat belt on for safety. In the unlikely event of an emergency, oxygen masks will drop from the overhead compartment above your chair. Simply place the mask over your mouth and breathe normally. Put the elastic over your head and pull the ends tight to securely fasten it. Note that the bag may not inflate. This is normal. Passengers with small children should put on their own masks first, then help their children with theirs. In the event of a water landing, your seat cushion may be used as a flotation device. For your dining pleasure, we will be serving peanuts in the cabin.
All right.
This is where the passengers sit. That flight attendant in the back must be getting things ready for the takeoff. This Concorde jet only carries 100 passengers, even though it's almost as long as a plane that carries 500 passengers. That's because it's so thin. Flight attendants take care of the passengers and know all about safety on the airplane. At the beginning of every flight, they remind passengers of the rules on the airplane, like wearing seat belts during takeoff and landing.
So I'd suggest something healthy because this is Edutainment Wednesday, for one thing. So healthy foods keep you alive longer, likely. Right. Aisle. There we go.
An aisle is a long, clear path where people can walk. In an airplane, the aisle runs from one end of the cabin to the other, so that the passengers and the people who work on the plane can walk easily and safely through the plane.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Flight 715 to London.
I'm not sure what Walter White is doing on our plane, but okay.
Think fast.
We hope you'll be having a pleasant flight with us today. We will be taking off soon, and I'd like to bring to your attention a few safety features of...
We already have.
Would you take a look at this cockpit? There's more buttons, switches, and dials than I've ever seen in my life. I'm glad the pilots have it figured out, because I wouldn't have the foggiest idea how to fly this plane. That seat along the side next to that wall of controls is for the flight engineer. It's his job to monitor all the stuff that runs the plane, from the engine temperature to the oil pressure. Would you take a look at this cockpit? There's more buttons, switches, and dials than I've ever seen in my life. I'm glad the pilots have it figured out, because I wouldn't have the foggiest idea how to fly this plane.
Apparently it's a Canadian Air plane, so...
Check.
Seat. Pilot seat. Anything we haven't... Drop nose. See that?
The Concorde has a drop nose that is specially designed to cut through the air at high speeds. Since the Concorde flies faster than the speed of sound, this nose design is very important. The pilot lowers the nose when it is time to land, so he can see better.
All right.
Check out this airplane. It's a Concorde jet, the fastest passenger airplane around.
Welcome back. And
The Concorde can go 1,300 miles per hour. A regular jet airplane takes 6 hours to fly from New York to London. With the Concorde, it takes only 3 hours.
good choice on the strawberries.
The Concorde is the only commercial jet that flies faster than the speed of sound. Not even I could keep up. Check out this airplane. It's a Concorde jet, the fastest passenger airplane around. It looks like this 747 must have just landed. The marshaller, he's the guy with those flashlights, is guiding the plane to one of the jetways so the passengers can get off. Most big jet airplanes have at least 4 emergency exits with slides that pop out, just in case the passengers need to escape quickly. But believe me, stuff like that doesn't happen too often. In big city airports, over 500 planes take off and land in a single day. Now here's an amazing fact. When the Wright brothers flew the very first airplane back in 1903, their flight was so short they could have done the whole thing inside a 747. Most big jet airplanes have at least 4 emergency exits with slides that pop out, just in case the passengers need to escape quickly. But believe me, stuff like that doesn't happen too often. The marshaller signals directions to the pilot. This helps the pilot safely steer the big plane on the ground as he or she brings it to the gate. The wheels on the bottom of the plane are called the landing gear. They let the plane roll safely on the ground during takeoff and landing. Once the plane is in the air, the landing gear is raised into a well inside the plane. The gear is lowered again when the pilot is ready to land. The jet engine gives power to a jet plane so that it can move fast enough to take off into the sky and fly. Jet planes fly faster than other kinds of passenger planes. The fuselage is the main body of the airplane. This is where the passengers sit and where suitcases, boxes, and packages are stored during the flight. Jet engine.
Yep. Already saw that one.
The rear of the plane, called the tail, is made up of 2 sections. One section, the fin, stands straight up from the tail. The other, called the tailplane, extends from each side of the fin like a pair of small wings.
Speaking of wings...
The wings on an airplane help it fly. When the airplane goes through the air flows over the wings and lifts the plane. Without wings, the air wouldn't be able to lift the plane up so it could fly.
Thank you for the heart supper.
Landing gear. Runway edge light. Along the side of each runway are runway edge lights. The runway edge lights are placed all along the runway and shine on it. The lights help the pilot see the runway when it's dark, foggy, or in rain or snow.
You already saw the escape chute, I think. Ah.
The people who direct the airplanes from the control towers are called air traffic controllers. When planes take off, air traffic controllers talk constantly with the pilots on 2-way radios until the plane is safely taken off into the air. Air traffic controllers use all kinds of instruments, radios, radar, signal lights, and a whole lot of other stuff to help the airplanes when they take off and land. We're sure high up in the air here. All control towers like this have lots of windows. That way, the air traffic controllers have a clear view of all of the airplanes. Air traffic controllers use all kinds of instruments, radios, radar, signal lights, and a whole lot of other stuff to help the airplanes when they take off and land. Donuts are sweet ring-shaped treats eaten for breakfast or for a snack. They go well with a glass of cold milk.
Did you know?
The air traffic controller works in the airport's tower. This person tells the pilots when it's time to land or take off. By making sure the planes come in and go when it's their turn, the air traffic controller keeps the airport running smoothly and safely. The tower logbook is the official record book of what happens at the airport every day. Workers write down in the tower logbook which runways were used, who was in charge in the tower, what equipment was broken, and any emergencies that might have happened. Binoculars have powerful pieces of glass called lenses. The lenses magnify things or make them look larger so that people can see objects that are far away. In the tower, the workers use binoculars to keep an eye on the airplanes as they fly in and out of the airport. The radar scope is the screen that shows other airplanes and thunderstorms that have been detected by the radar. A map is a drawing of an area that people use to find their way around. A map of a city shows where all of the streets are and which directions they go. Following a map is a good way to keep from getting lost in a new town. Telephone. Workers in the tower use the telephone when they need to call someone for information or if someone calls them with a question. A pet carrier is like a little traveling house for pets. It has a solid floor for animals to rest on and is big enough to give them room to move around. Using a pet carrier is the safest way to take animals on a trip. When animals fly in an airplane, they must always be in a pet carrier.
Unless they're small enough to be in a carry-on.
The tractor pulls baggage carts to and from the airplanes. The tractor looks like a little car, but it has extra power for pulling heavy loads.
Already read that one.
Looks like this plane's getting ready to move on out. Over there is the luggage waiting to go inside the cargo hatch. Ever wonder where the fuel is stored on airplanes? Right inside the wings. Plane passengers ship all kinds of things when they travel on airplanes. Suitcases, skis, bicycles, even pet rabbits. Those flaps underneath the wings are used for takeoffs and landings. When the plane takes off, they open up to help it lift into the sky. And when it lands, they open again to help it slow down. Flaps are extensions of the airplane's wings. They are usually kept tucked into the wing during flight. During takeoff, they are extended by the pilot to help lift the plane into the air. When the pilot is ready to land, the flaps are used to slow the plane down. The cargo hatch is the door to the storage area under the plane. Luggage and other large items that are stored during the trip are placed on the plane through the cargo hatch. Welcome to the cargo hold. Right now, we're in the belly of the airplane, below where all the passengers sit. This is where all the baggage goes. That's a baggage handler. It's her job to safely and quickly load up the airplane. Those rollers on the floor make it easier for the baggage handlers to slide those heavy underfloor containers around. Welcome to the cargo hold. Right now, we're in the belly of the airplane, below where all the passengers sit. This is where all the baggage goes. A baggage handler is a worker at the airport who makes sure the luggage gets to the same place as the passengers. The pusher moves the luggage onto the right conveyor belt, but the baggage handler takes the luggage from the conveyor belt and puts it on the baggage cart or into the underfloor stowage area on the plane. Underfloor containers are used to store cargo during a flight. They keep the cargo from sliding around while the plane is moving.
And poof, they're gone. No idea where they went.
Whoa! This looks like Grand Central baggage. This is where the baggage goes before it's loaded onto the airplane, and where it's taken before it goes to baggage claim. The whole works back here is pretty much automatic. Bags are moved along conveyor belts and are sorted by machines. That way, they all get to the right place. A lot of baggage gets shipped on airplanes. Around 70,000 pieces a day in some big city airports. That's a lot of suitcases, not to mention the shirts, socks, and underwear packed inside of them.
Thank you for the heart swiffer.
All kinds of things get shipped on airplanes. Besides all of the usual stuff that passengers ship, like luggage and the occasional pet kitty cat, the post office often sends mail from one city to the next. A lot of baggage gets shipped on airplanes. Around 70,000 pieces a day in some big city airports. That's a lot of suitcases, not to mention the shirts, socks, and underwear packed inside of them. All kinds of things get shipped on airplanes. Besides all of the usual stuff that passengers ship, like luggage and the occasional pet kitty cat, the post office often sends mail from one city to the next.
Already had that one.
Luggage checked in at the airport is given a baggage ticket with a barcode on it. The barcode has special symbols that say where the luggage should go. The scanner is a machine that reads the barcode to find out which airplane the luggage should be loaded onto. It sends the information to the pusher.
Thank you for the hearts, Pepper.
The pusher is a machine that pushes luggage onto the right conveyor belt so that all of the luggage from one flight ends up together. A device called the scanner reads the baggage ticket on each piece of luggage and tells the pusher where to send it. Ladder. A ladder helps people reach high places. Ladders are usually made of wood or metal. To reach something high, like a conveyor belt, a worker climbs up the ladder. To get back down to the ground, the worker climbs down. Each step on the ladder is called a rung.
Hello? What? No. No. Goodbye.
Chalkboards are made from a smooth rock called slate. People write messages on the chalkboard with chalk, which comes from a soft powdery rock called limestone. The chalk can be erased easily, so chalkboards are good for leaving messages that people only need to see for a short time. Chalkboards are sometimes called blackboards. Handrail. This is the hangar area. There's a lot going on down here. Planes are getting fixed in the hangars, and a fire truck stands by just in case there's a fire that needs putting out. It looks like that's a fuel truck right down there. Fuel trucks drive over to the airplanes and fill them up. They put in enough fuel to take them to their next destination, plus a lot extra. In large airports, fuel trucks pump about 1 million gallons a day into airplanes. Now that's a lot of gas. This is the hangar area. There's a lot going on down here. Planes are getting fixed in the hangars, and a fire truck stands by just in case there's a fire that needs putting out. The McDonnell Douglas DC-10 is a commercial jet. It is over 181 feet long from nose to tail and measures 155 feet from wingtip to wingtip. Its engines can keep the plane flying as fast as 575 miles per hour. Depending on how the cabin seats are put in, the DC-10 can handle from 274 to 380 passengers. Hangar doors are high and very wide so that airplanes can taxi or drive in and out. This hangar door opens and closes like a garage door at home. Hangar. Here we are inside the hangar. It looks like this plane is getting fixed and cleaned up. Some hangars hangars are even big enough to hold 2 big airplanes. I hope that mechanic remembers to put that jet engine back in the airplane, or it's not going to go very far. Here we are inside the hangar. It looks like this plane is getting fixed and cleaned up. A mechanic is a person who has been trained to repair machines. At the airport, mechanics take good care of the airplanes to keep them flying safely. If an airplane part breaks or wears out, the mechanic knows how to replace it with a new part. By keeping the plane in tip-top shape, the mechanic makes sure that it will fly smoothly and safely. Stairs are made up of steps. By walking up each step in the stairs, people can go from one level to another. Mobile stairs are sometimes used at airports, so people can walk from the ground up to the airplane door. The stairs are then moved out of the way until they're needed again. The tool chest is a handy place for the mechanic to store tools. Wrenches, screwdrivers, pliers, and socket sets are usually kept in a tool chest. With all the tools in a tool chest, they are easy to find the next time they are needed. Sometimes a tool chest is called a toolbox. Scaffolding is used to help workers get to high places. Workers at the airport can climb up on the scaffolding to wash windows, paint, or do repair work on the plane. Go ahead and type in your name, and I, Buzzy the Knowledge Bug, will keep track of your score as we play. Hey, let's play a game! Just pick one, and away we go! If you need any help, just ask me, Buzzy the Knowledge Bug.
Buzzy the Knowledge Bug. I'll ask you. Sure. I think we explored around the airport, so it's time to go ahead and do some of the trivia and finding and coloring and other activities.
How easy or how hard do you want the game to be?
Let's go with easy and then work our way up.
Are you ready for some trivia? Not
Yep.
only do knowledge bugs like to answer questions, we love to ask them too. That's how we get to learn so much great stuff. So now, I'm going to ask you some questions, and you can tell me the answers. Good luck.
Which of these do people climb to reach
Which
high
of these
places?
do
Okay.
people climb to reach high places? Excellent.
Without these, planes would not be able to fly.
You got it.
I mean, the first three are
Magazine.
very true, too. Which of these things is usually in the seat pocket of an airplane? Oh, you already... yeah. If you were taking your dog on a plane, what would you carry him in?
Yes.
What is stored in the kitchen or galley of an airplane?
Super.
What is coffee made from? Which of these do you carry on your back?
Excellent. Okay. Try this one.
Which of these things is not usually found in the bathroom of an airplane?
Super.
Although a door is not inside, it's more on the wall. What do you call the back part of an airplane? Which of these things tells you the time?
Good answer.
What do you put food and drinks in to keep them cold?
Good one.
Where can passengers hang their coats on an airplane? How often do daily newspapers come out? Daily.
Yes.
Which of these things are you most likely to find in a tool chest?
You got it.
Helicopters do not have. Which of these do airports use to see inside people's luggage?
Good answer.
Who sits in the cockpit with the pilot?
You got it.
A beverage is something you drink. Which of these is a beverage? Which of these is a favorite snack often served on airplanes?
Excellent.
Which is another name for a chalkboard?
You got it.
Instead of landing on runways, seaplanes land on... Which of these things would you use if you want to see what your smile looked like?
Super.
Which of these do you carry on your back?
Excellent.
Alright, let's work our way up now.
Do you want to play easy? Here's a question for you.
Which passenger section on an airplane has the biggest seats and the most legroom?
about this?
Where do the passengers sit on an airplane? In the closet. Oh.
Bingo!
What is another name for a suitcase? What do pilots look at to see how hard the wind is blowing?
Yes!
What do you call the route flown by an airplane?
You got it!
Which of these things help the pilot see the runway at night?
How about this?
Which of these can take off and land on the water?
Excellent!
Where do airplanes take off and land?
Bingo!
What do you call the body of an airplane? The aisle is inside the middle. No? Tail would be end. Fuselage would be front. No?
The answer is
Fuselage?
the fuselage. Here's a new question.
Okay. Didn't bring that up. I didn't see that before, but might have been in one of the diagrams of the plane. What were the first airplanes made of? No.
Good answer!
Stone wouldn't make any sense. What do passengers have to buy to take a trip on an airplane? There you go.
Yes!
What is a chalkboard made of? It's made of rock, so slate.
100% right!
What do fire extinguishers do? I got two wrong. Yeah. Who repairs planes at the airport? Like, they have questions like that.
Super!
Who helps the pilot fly the plane?
Good one!
What does a pilot set to automatically fly the plane? What do you call the front of a clock? Face.
Bingo!
What does the big hand on a clock tell you? They're the same size, just the arm is different.
Good answer!
Where do cars park at the airport? What do you call the little fan that blows air at plane passengers?
Bingo!
Limestone is used to make chalk.
Good answer!
Found that out today. Didn't know that before. What do you call the body of an airplane? Fuselage. What keeps a seaplane from sinking? Floats.
Super!
What direction does a compass needle always point? North.
You got it!
Gosh. I don't know. How hard is it gonna be? I don't know. I'll have to check. What do you call the kitchen on an airplane? Yeah, I didn't know that the galley was the name either. I knew that was for, I remember that that was for boats. So if you asked me about it for boats, I'd say a galley, but one instrument shows the pilot how fast the plane is flying.
Good one.
No one sets speed. What are animals kept in during an airplane ride? Pet carriers.
100% right.
Where do air traffic controllers work? The control tower. What do you use to write on a chalkboard? Yeah, I mean,
100% right.
there's definitely two levels of questions here. Thank you for the arts, Pepper. Where do the pilot and co-pilot sit when they fly on the plane?
Bingo.
Alright. Let's check hard.
What level do you...
Where does garbage go when it is taken off the plane? In the seat pocket, in the dumpster, the street.
100% right.
What part of the wing do you... I'll just have to read them.
What part of the wing do you raise to slow a plane down?
Uh-huh. Spoiler.
Super.
Which way does an airplane go when a pilot raises the elevators? It doesn't go up. Oh, it goes up.
The answer is up. Try this question. What instrument shows the pilot how high the airplane is flying?
One sock is for speed.
Yes! How many passengers can a Concorde hold? Super! How many passengers can ride in a Bell Jet Ranger helicopter? Good one! What does a pilot use to tilt a helicopter's blades? Good one! What do mechanics stand on to fix high places on an airplane? Excellent! What controls the speed of an airplane's engine? Bingo!
Which way did... there we go.
Which way does an airplane go when a pilot raises the elevators? How about this? Super! What does a metal detector do when it detects metal? Yes! What do you call the vehicle that pushes a plane away from the gate? Which way does an airplane go when a pilot lowers the elevator? Good one! Where are airplanes cleaned and repaired?
At the dumpster. No.
Bingo! What lifts a helicopter into the air? Where does garbage go when it is taken off the plane? 100% right! Where would you find an airplane's radar scanner? Good one! What do you call the flaps on an airplane wing? Good one! Which machine reads the barcode on a baggage ticket? Yes!
Thank you, Pepper.
What kind of fuel do airplanes use? Super! What do you call the runners on a helicopter? Bingo! What is another name for the flight data recorder? Excellent! What do you call the kind of luggage specially made for carrying clothes on hangers? You got it! What instrument shows if the airplane is flying level to the ground? Here's a question for you. Where do passengers get on and off an airplane? You got it! How long is a Boeing 747 from wingtip to wingtip? Good one!
There's a bit of a indicator for you when you're doing test. If it says like about 195 inches, and then and then there's also 195 feet, it's trying to get you to answer based on the number and mess up. So you got to take out the inches, and then, well, a plane isn't going to be inches, so you got to go with feet. Or if it is inches, it's going to be a lot more than 195.
What do you call the up or down direction of an airplane?
No.
100% right! What do flight attendants use to make announcements to passengers? 100% right! When were airplanes invented? Bingo! What do you call the wheels on the bottom of a plane?
All right, Pepper. Have a great rest of your night. Stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Who signals directions to the pilot from the ground? Bingo! Where do passengers get on and off an airplane? Yes! How about this? What are notebook computers powered by? What kind of engine does a car have? Yes! What do you call the screen that shows things detected by radar?
A radar.
Super! What level do you want to play? Hello there! Let's play Find It! First, I, Buzzy the Knowledge Bug, will choose something I know you can find back at the airport. Then we'll buzz back over there and take a look. Keep your eyes open, and when you find what you're looking for, just click on it. Here's your first item. Now, let's see if you can find it. Down below is a picture of the item. It's somewhere in this area. Congratulations! You found it! Let's find another. Okay, let's see if you can find this one. Good luck! Down below is... It's somewhere in this area.
Passengers from Flight 212 to the
Way to go! You found it! Let's find another. Okay, let's see if you can find this one. Good luck! Down below is a picture of the item. It's somewhere in this area. Congratulations! You found it! Let's find another. Okay, let's see if you can find this one. Good luck! Congratulations! You found it! Let's find another. Okay, let's see if you can find this one. Good luck! Congratulations! You found it! Let's find another. Okay, let's see if you can find this one. Good luck! Way to go! You found it! Let's find another. Okay, let's see if you can find this one. Good luck! Way to go! You found it! Let's find another. Okay, let's see if you can find this one. Good luck! Way to go! You found it! Let's find another. Okay, let's see if you can find this one. Good luck! Way to go! You found it! Let's find another. Okay, let's see if you can find this one. Good luck! Excellent! You found them all! Let's find more! Okay, let's see if you can find this one. Good luck!
Go back to find it.
What level
Go to
do you-
medium.
Hello there! Let's play Find It! Here's your first item. Now, let's see if you can find it.
So a walkie-talkie somewhere. I didn't even check this area. I didn't even see this.
You're playing the medium level of Find It. I'll bet you'll find it somewhere inside the terminal.
Thank you. Ah.
Way to go! You found it! Let's find another. Okay, let's see if you can find this one. Good luck! Way to go! You found it! Let's find another. Okay, let's see if you can find this one. Good luck! You're playing the medium level of Find It. I'll bet you'll find it inside one of the airplanes.
Yep. Here it is.
Congratulations! You found it! Let's find another. Okay, let's see if you can find this one. Good luck! Way to go! You found it! Let's find another. Okay, let's see if you can find this one. Good luck! Congratulations! You found it! Let's find another. Okay, let's see if you can find this one. Good luck! Way to go! You found it! Let's find another. Okay, let's see if you can find this one. Good luck! Way to go! You found it! Let's find another. Okay, let's see if you can find this one. Good luck! Way to go! You found it! Let's find another. Okay, let's see if you can find this one. Good luck! Congratulations! You found it! Let's find another. Okay, let's see if you can find this one. Good luck! Excellent! You found them all! Let's find more! Okay, let's see if you can find this one. Good luck!
Let's go to the hard level.
Go ahead. Hello there! Let's play Find It! Here's your first item. Now, let's see if you can find it. Congratulations! You found it! Let's find another. Okay, let's see if you can find this one. Good luck!
Not really sure what that is.
You're playing the hardest level of Find It. Sometimes you have to click on the item more than once to find the right one.
Okay.
Well, since you're playing the hard level, I shouldn't give you any hints. But you're not going to find it around here. You're playing the hardest level of finding. Sometimes you have to click on the item more than once to find the right one. Well, since you're playing the hard level, I shouldn't give you any hints. But you're not going to find it around here.
What rabbit pig having their ears pulled?
I got
Well,
no idea.
since you're playing, you're not going to find it. Well, since you're playing, you're not going to find it around here.
There you go.
Of a small
Well, since you're playing the hard level, I shouldn't give you any hints. But you're not going to find it around here.
I have no idea what that is.
Well, since you're playing the hard level, you're not going to find it around here.
Flight 47 to Zaire will be delayed.
Well, since you're playing the
Just
hard
tell me
level,
if yeah.
you're not going to find it around here.
Give me like a hot and cold with these kinds of things.
Well, since you're playing the hard level, you're not going to find it around here.
Mr. Spielberg, Mr. Stanley Spielberg, please phone home.
Well, since you're playing the hard level, I shouldn't give you any hints. But you're not going to find it around here. You're playing the hardest level of finding. Sometimes you're playing the hardest level.
It's around here.
Well, since you're playing the hard level, I shouldn't give you any hints. But you're not going to...
Nope.
Hey, knowledge buddy!
Alright, let's go ahead and do some of the ones that we missed because I didn't see them earlier.
Wow! Now this seaplane has a talent that I don't have. Not only can it fly, it lands in the water. Seaplanes don't sink because they have floats. Those things that look like giant water skis. They make the planes float like boats. Wow! Now this seaplane has a talent that I don't have. Not only can it fly, it lands in the water. propeller. Some airplanes use blades called propellers to move forward. The propellers are driven by an engine that makes them spin very quickly. The shape of the propeller is designed so that as it spins, it pulls the plane through the air. Ducks are birds that can swim. They have webbed feet to help them swim and dive for food. Their bodies are covered with lots of soft feathers to keep them warm and dry when they swim in cold lakes and ponds. Ducks usually have large flat bills too, and short legs. We often call them both ducks, but really only the female is a duck. The male is called a drake. A dock is a walkway that goes from the shore out over the water. Seaplanes park at the dock so that passengers can get on and off without getting wet. A dock is also called a wharf or a pier. Roll-up door. A roll-up door rolls up instead of swinging open from the side. It is on a track so that workers can roll it up and down with ease. Roll-up doors are used when the door has to be kept out of the way. The floats on the bottom of the seaplane keep it from sinking. They also make it possible to take off and land on water instead of a runway. Windshield. A strut is a bar or rod used for support. On an airplane, struts are connected to the wings to give them strength as the plane flies. Oil drums store oil, which is used to lubricate or grease parts on the plane. Lubrication makes parts slippery, so they turn and slide easily. This makes them work better and last longer. Crate. Even though this seaplane is a lot smaller than a big jet, it has a lot of the same controls to help the pilot navigate from place to place. That's a control yoke. If you thought it was a steering wheel, the yoke was on you. Like a car, every airplane has seat belts. It's very important to keep them fastened, particularly during takeoff and landing. That's a control yoke. If you thought it was a steering wheel, book. Control yoke. Airspeed indicator. Seat belts keep drivers and passengers safe. Seat belts hold people in, close to their seat. This way, they can't fall out of their seats if there's a quick stop or an accident. This is the baggage claim area. All of the bags that have been checked in eventually come here. Once the passengers pick them up, they can head for home, or wherever they're planning on going. Over at Lost and Found is where people go if they've lost one of their suitcases, or left something like a jacket or a book on the airplane. I wonder what she lost. Most airports have lockers for people to store their luggage in. This helps if they have a long time to wait for their flight. This is the baggage claim area. All of the bags that have been checked in eventually come here. Once the passengers pick them up, they can head for home, or wherever they're planning on going. That place over there is where people who need cars can rent them. Looks like that guy needs a car. This is the baggage claim area. All of the bags that have been checked in eventually come here. Once the passenger... Car keys, baby blankets, glasses, maps, books, and even teddy bears can be accidentally lost at the airport. If someone finds a teddy bear, they can turn it in, which means they give it to the worker at Lost and Found. If someone loses their teddy bear, they can go to Lost and Found to get it back. Payphones are telephones that people must pay to use. Most payphones have a special coin slot, like a piggy bank. When you put the right amount of money in the coin slot, the phone will work, and you can make a call. Car rental companies have many kinds of cars that they rent to people. This means people pay to use the car for a while. When a person is done using the car, they give it back to the car rental company, and someone else can rent it. Luggage that is unloaded from the airplane is sent to the baggage claim area, where it comes out on the carousel. The carousel is big enough to hold lots of luggage. The carousel slowly goes around in a circle, carrying the luggage past all of the people. This way, people can easily find their suitcases. This plane is getting ready to take off. That little yellow push-out tug is about to push it back from the gate. That's the jetway over there. It's like a hallway that lets passengers walk from the gate to the airplane. The gray truck right there is the galley service truck. Galley is a fancy word for kitchen. The back half of the truck moves way up high, so the food for the passengers can be quickly loaded through one of the plane doors. This plane is getting ready to take off. That little yellow push-out tug is about to push it back from the gate. The push-out tugs help the airplanes back up until they can drive forward by themselves to the runway. That's the jetway over there. It's like a hallway that lets passengers... Barricades are used to keep people out of certain places. They are like fences, but they're portable, which means they can be moved around. Plane door. Once the passengers are on board and the baggage is loaded, a vehicle called the push-out tug pushes the airplane away from the gate. Then the plane can taxi or roll slowly to the runway. There's a lot of activity going on at the terminal. This is where passengers find out when a flight is leaving or arriving, where they need to go to get on the right plane, and which way they should go to get their luggage. Passengers can also buy tickets, books, and magazines, and even meals inside the terminal.
Already got that one.
galley service truck. This is a small plane that's sometimes called a commuter plane because people can commute or travel short distances in it. In order to move through the air, this little plane uses its propeller. The bigger jet airplanes don't have propellers. Instead, they have giant jet engines that suck in air and push it out, making them go, and fast. As for me, when I fly, I use my wings and a lot of energy. This is a small plane that's sometimes called a commuter plane because people can commute or The tailplane is part of the airplane's tail. It sticks out from the side like small wings. Movable flaps on the tailplane, called elevators, are raised and lowered to tilt the plane's nose up or down. This makes the plane climb higher into the air or down toward the ground. There are many different types of planes at an airport. Although there are smaller commuter planes for short trips, most passengers go to the airport to ride commercial jets. These planes can hold 100 or more people and can go hundreds or thousands of miles without having to get more fuel. Because of their size and the equipment they need when on the ground, commercial jets cannot land at small airports.
All right.
Ready to play another game? What level do you... Hello there! Let's play Find It. Here's your first item. Now, let's see if you can find it.
It's a light of some kind. Huh.
Congratulations! You found it! Let's find another. Okay, let's see if you can find this one. Good luck! Way to go! You found it! Let's find another. Okay, let's see if you can find this one. Good luck!
Magazine of a bear. I forgot this.
I'm on my lunch break.
This yours? Huh? Yeah?
One
Huh?
of
Yeah?
four
Huh?
doors
Huh?
in
Yeah?
please.
Oh, I don't think so.
Well, since you're playing the hard level, I shouldn't give you any hints. But you're not going to find it around here.
Ah.
Congratulations! You found it! Let's find another. Okay, let's see if you can find this one. Good luck!
Baggage section, I don't know. There. It's not there.
Congratulations! You found it! Let's find another. Okay, let's see if you can find this one. Good luck!
Oh, I can't even... No? Ugh. All right.
Ready to play another game? Let's see if you can get the right colored luggage to drop into its matching bin. I don't know about you, but this doesn't look so easy to me.
Actually, before we continue with this, there's one more place that we didn't check on the airport.
Here at the ticket counter, the ticket agent sells tickets, checks people in for their flights, and checks in baggage. Before the ticket agent sends a passenger's luggage back on the conveyor belt to the baggage area, he weighs it on a scale. The ticket agent's computer helps him keep track of which passengers have arrived for their flights, what seats they'll be sitting in on the plane, and what planes are coming and going from the airport. When a ticket agent sells a customer a ticket, printed on it will be all the information he needs to know: when the flight leaves and arrives, where it's going, and what seat the passenger will be sitting in. Before the ticket agent sends a passenger's luggage back on the conveyor belt to the baggage area, he weighs it on a scale. When a ticket agent sells a customer a ticket, printed on it will be all the information he needs to know: when the flight leaves and arrives, where it's going, and what seat the passenger will be sitting in. A scale is used to weigh packages and luggage before they're put on the plane. Everything is weighed because there is a limit to how much weight can be added to the plane before it is overloaded and unsafe to fly. The ticket counter is where passengers buy tickets to take a trip. Printed on the ticket is the name of the airline company, the flight number, the name of the city where the airplane will be landing, and the time the plane will leave the airport. Here, a customer service agent can help passengers choose where they want to sit on the plane and check their luggage. Computers hold lots of information or data in their memory. People can put new information in a computer, organize it, save it, and find it again whenever they want. Computers are used in companies, in schools, and at home for work, fun, and learning. Games are especially fun to play on the computer. Hey, knowledge buddy, do you want to play easy? Oh boy, let's play What Is It? Match the picture to the answers on the right. Good luck! Right you are! See if you can tell me what this is. Right you are!
Okay, so easy is like this.
Yes, indeedy. You're pretty good at this. Well done.
Let's move on to medium.
What do you think this is? Right you are!
Let's do 10 of these, then we'll go into hard.
Good job! Right you are! That's right! Super duper job! Right you are! Yep, you're doing great! How hard do you... Good job! Escalator. Right you are! Can you tell me what this is? Yep, you're doing great! That's right! Yep, you're doing great! What do you think this is? Right you are! That's right! Super duper job! Good job! Yes, indeedy. You're pretty good at this. Super duper job! Yep, you're doing great! Good job! See if you can tell me what this is. Right you are! That's right! Yes, indeedy. You're pretty good at this. Yep, you're doing great. Yep, you're doing great. Well done! Well done!
The green gave it away that it was the dumpster, not the hand cart. What is it? A hand truck.
Well done! Good job! You got them all!
That's the first. Alright.
Do you want to play another game? Hey! Let's color some pictures!
Actually, let's... not sure. I mean, I kind of wish I could use shades. There we go. And I might have used this for the title card, but I've already got an idea for it. So. Hopefully it turns out pretty good. I haven't made it yet. very inventive to have me blend the colors. Just So as you can see, I didn't want to make... Well, technically I could make beige. Huh. Alright, there we go. Green golf bag. But originally I was going to make them all Simpsons characters, so... Yellow. Yellow. Red. Orange. It's kind of funny that I mentioned earlier about the coloring book that I got from the plane, and now I'm coloring. Okay, good. They stay the color I painted. Even though I changed the palette. Alright, I think that's where we're going to go ahead and lay off for the night. Go ahead and pick this up next week. We'll be starting up with this page, hopefully. I don't think it'll save, so just have to keep these pages colored and remembered in my mind. Let's go ahead and take care of these golf clubs. And yeah, so there we go. Pick it up with this picture next week. Thank you very much for watching. Let's go ahead and end the actual game. Stop playing.
Do you want to play another game?
Hold on. Let's... Hopefully you'll save. You really want to quit? Yes. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I hope you had a good time. Let me go ahead and see who else is streaming at this hour, and we'll go ahead and send off for a raid. Have a great rest of your night. Safe. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for a special stream for St. Patty's Day. And I'll see you guys, well, yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. We were heading off to someone somewhat new. They're a friend of Sylvie's. Let's raid off to Manamaka, a friend of Sylvie's, as far as I know, and they're currently playing Buddy Simulator. Repeating that again because my frames drop when I'm not looking directly at Streamlabs, and it tends to have audio issues, so need to repeat myself sometimes. Anyway, please give love and support to Monomaka, and I'll see you guys on tomorrow with a very special, although possibly late, depending on how things go, stream for St. Patty's Day. Later.